Good evening, everyone. Clara Schumann composed the 4 songs orchestrated for tonight's program during the first 4 years of her marriage to Robert Schumann, whose Faust overture we heard some moments ago. For much of the 19th century, it was not unusual for songs like these to be performed side by side with short readings from poetry and literature. In my view, this was a rather lovely historical practice, so I'm thrilled to have been invited to help revive it for you this evening. So to this end, I'm going to be reading some short entries from Clara and Robert Schumann's joint marriage diary, describing their early collaborative effort to set poetry from Rückert's Liebesfrühling, or Dawn of Love, which inspired tonight's first 2 songs. I'm also going to be reading documents related to Clara Schumann's first extended departure from her husband and from her infant daughter on a trip to Copenhagen as a kind of touring piano virtuoso in 1842. We will start with the Liebesfrühling. Robert's entry, Marriage Diary 1, week 17, January 3rd to 10th, 1841. The idea to bring out an album of Lieder with Clara has given me enthusiasm for work. Thus, from Monday to Monday the 11th, 9 Lieder from the Liebesfrühling by Rückert were completed, in which I think I may again have found a special tone. Now, Clara should also compose a few from the Liebesfrühling. Oh, do it, Klärchen, otherwise nothing much happened. Clara's entry, Marriage Diary 1, weeks 39 to 40, June 6th to 21st, 1841. I will begin with the most beautiful day, the new year that you, my dear husband, have entered. The weather was horrible on June 8th, but our souls lived in the most magnificent sunshine, and thus all went well. Oh, we were very blissful that day, and I devoutly thank God for letting us live so happily through this first June 8th of our marriage, and above all, that he created such a dear, excellent human being for me and for the world. There was little I could give to my Robert, but he always kept smiling so amicably because he knew well how affectionately it was given. For Lieder by Rückert gave him much pleasure, and he also treated them so tolerantly that he will even publish them together with several of his own, which makes me very happy. Clara Schumann to Robert Schumann, Kiel, March 12, 1842. My dear beloved husband, the departure from Hamburg was heartbreaking, but enough of that. You probably felt it as much as I did. I imagine that you're at the Hotel Brandenburg while I'm writing this, drinking coffee and thinking of your Clara. Am I right? I hope that you've weathered the trip all right and are doing better than I am. Imagine, the concert couldn't take place. I got so sick yesterday afternoon that I had to go to bed and stayed there until 6 o'clock. Then I tried to get up. I asked someone to do my hair and help me get dressed, but it was impossible to button the dress since I couldn't stand up, and again I broke out in a cold sweat and got so sick to my stomach that I had to hold my head. In short, I had to go back to bed. As you can imagine, it was a terrible day for me. The doctor said that it was my longing for you. The separation had affected my body, and I must have caught the cold to boot. May heaven protect us and soon lead us safely back to each other's arms. I will pray for you and our dear child every night when I go to bed. I give you 1,001 kisses. With deepest love, your faithfully devoted Clara. Clara's entry, Marriage Diary 2, April 1842. On Sunday the 17th, I made my last public appearance. I played yet another piece at a charity concert in the Royal Theatre and was greeted by the audience with the greatest enthusiasm, called back after the end of the piece. I was in a very tender mood. Reluctantly, I took leave of the city where so much love had been shown to me and where I received so much honor at all times, but the thought of my loved ones at home immediately drove away all sadness, which then turned into the most joyful hope. Monday the 18th was finally the day of my departure, a day full of restlessness. In the morning, I still had a private audience with the Queen, who gave me a diamond brooch and in a very friendly way invited me to come back soon. We departed at 6 o'clock in the evening. Emotions of various kinds rose up within me, but I do not want to dissect them. Everyone could well imagine what they were. The voyage was heavenly, no question of any commotion of the boat. We lay at anchor for 10 hours because of the fog, but in the morning we saw the most delightful sunrise just as we were passing Mearn Island. In the vicinity of Kiel, rockets were released. The moon was shining in full glow so that one could clearly recognize the beautiful shorelines formed by the harbor. Finally, at 9 o'clock, we arrived at that very place where I found an altogether lovely room waiting for me with a bit of a view over the water. I departed by steamboat at 7 o'clock in the morning. I had pleasant company, but only men, which sometimes did become oppressive for me. It took 2 days before we finally arrived. Monday evening in Magdeburg, still a malicious demon wanted us to miss each other. Robert drove to the pier, I to the inn, but I did not wait there long before Robert opened his arms, into which I flew immediately. That was a delight, a bliss that seemed quite enormous to me. How we thanked God, who has now brought us so happy, so healthy, back together again.
Ich weiß nicht, was soll es